All right. Hello, hello. Ready to get this going?
Mhm.
Fantastic. Let me share my screen and let's kick this off. So, the goal today is to go over some fundamentals of GoCSM and retention building. I'm going to make the screen a little bit wider, remove this. I don't need presenter notes. I've studied my material, how to catch red flags during and after onboarding. And ultimately, the goal is preventing churn, preventing 60% of churn without hiring new people or burning out. Thanks to all of GoCSM's capabilities and thanks to AI agents and MCP servers and all that fun stuff, this is a absolute reality right now. So I want to open up with just a little bit of simple math. Now, churn and client acquisition is not going to be the same number every month. So it's useful to look at churn and to know what your 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month churn numbers look like. But the math ultimately is retention compounds and acquisition resets. So what this means is if you have a specific flow, like over the course of 6 months, if you get all the new customers that you got, and it's, let's say, 50 new customers over 6 months, which is totally realistic, um, and your churn number is, let's say, 5%, this means that you're going to, you always have a revenue ceiling that you might hit. And over time, if you look at your churn for the last, let's say, 12 months on a quarterly basis and compared to acquisition, if you have 5% monthly churn, that means you have a 20x hard ceiling on MRR, right? And the ceiling is the potential. This is the maximum size, as I've written here, that your account base, your portfolio can reach if the ratio of churn versus new clients acquired stays constant. And this is a good case scenario. It's not a bad case, it's not a best case, it's a good case. It's an okay case scenario, right? But you always want to expand the ceiling and the potential revenue that you can bring in. So if you cut the churn down, your ceiling increases massively by 20x. If you just cut your churn by 2.5%, if you're at a 5% monthly churn. So when it comes to retention and GoHighLevel SaaS agencies and hybrid agencies, there's reactive and proactive, or an operator that's focused on retention. And the proactive one, the one on the right, is looking to catch signals early, looking to catch those signals and then address them, whether by reaching out to the client, whether by supporting the client behind the scenes, or whether by updating their processes. So your onboarding process, your monthly or weekly check-in process with the client, if you have any courses, modules of courses, anything like that, your documentation, support, knowledge panel, all of this can be handled proactively. The moment you see a pattern in your churn data, in the retention data, in the product adoption data, you can immediately take action to prevent that from happening in the future. So everybody wants to be a retention operator. Of course, that should be the case. So that means that you need to focus on these factors here. You need to be looking for red flags that are indicating that the account's going to be slipping. Act on those flags to save the account. And the key here is to act upon them early enough to where the thought of cancellation has most likely not even entered the client's mind. They haven't even thought about it. They just started drifting off, getting less and less value. And then some time passes, usually a week, 2, 3 weeks, until the thought of cancellation enters the client's mind. And then maybe another 2, 3 weeks before they actually cancel. Um, Protecting the MRR is super important, not just because it's funding everything, it's funding the agency, but also when your number one, as an agency, your number one opportunity for additional revenue is upselling people that have already trusted you, people that have already gone in their pocket, they've paid money for a service. And protecting that MRR means not just making sure that they're happy with the service, but also that they're getting value with the service. Because there's cases, and every agency operator, owner, manager knows there's clients that will cancel because they're not getting results. There's clients that will cancel because they're not getting good communication from the agency. At the end of the day, these two things, getting them results and providing them with a positive experience, so that they feel like whoever on your agency's side they're talking to is somebody that they can trust. And so ultimately, the goal of a client or customer success manager is to, in the client's eyes, to be on their side, right? So when the client is upset, when they're not getting value, the CSM is like, hey, I'm on your team here, and I want to work with you to benefit you, to get you as much value out of this as possible. Or when a client is disappointed, when they're not happy, responding and reminding them, like, I totally get where you're coming from, I would be upset too, I'm on your side here, I'm going to work with you to find a solution. Running on leading signals, which I'll go over here in a second. And then ultimately this leads to compounding the revenue instead of resetting it every month, which is the case when your retention and acquisition numbers stay the same quarter after quarter or month after month. Fundamentals, and this is the last super important part of education before we get into some of the core things that you should have set up. Leading versus lagging indicators. A lagging indicator means it's too late. It's an indicator of churn that's too late. Cancellation email, failed payment notification, downgrade confirmation, or the email that you get when somebody downgrades, a refund request, negative review posted. Nobody likes these. It feels terrible to get any of these notifications, but they are super preventable. Not every time, right? Churn is never going to be 100% preventable. There's always going to be outside factors that you have no control over. Some people are just bad at running a business. Other businesses are going under, filing bankruptcy, closing down. Sometimes seasonality affects it. Sometimes legalities and laws can affect an entire industry. But it is possible to reduce churn by over 50%. Leading indicators, super important. If you're offering them a CRM, whether it's a standalone CRM with instructions or pre-setup, or you're selling it as part of an SEO or marketing, Facebook ad service, anything like that, they need to be logging in, number one. Either on their phone, on the desktop app, on the browser app, they need to be logging in. Workflow executions is a core pillar. So monitoring workflow executions, monitoring conversations, the volume of sent SMS, sent email messages, calendar bookings slowing down or speeding up, collected payments, and then key users going quiet. So a key user is something that you can mark in every account. If you have multiple people inside of your accounts, you can mark the key users. Who are the key users? The key users are the people that you expect to use the platform. Sometimes it's the owner of a business. Sometimes it might be the receptionist, the admin person, the front desk person, or any other employee. So the key user should be somebody that's monitored very closely, even if their job is to do 1,000 other things in addition to this. During onboarding, you're able to figure out who on the client's team is going to be using it, and then it takes 2 seconds to mark them in GoCSM. Before we get into the next couple slides, I wanted to pause. Do you have any questions? Is there anything that I can explain?
None so far.
Cool. Do you know how to check for these? Not through a GoCSM trigger, but how to manually check for them? Would you like me to show you that?
Oh yes, please kindly show it to us.
I would be happy to. So let me go into the demo account. All of All of these four are through product adoption. Login frequency is very easy. You can go to login activity, users, and you can see the login frequency here. You can also go into any sub account. So health, login activity, product adoption, revenue intelligence, all of these have sub accounts in here. And when you click on a sub account specifically, it'll open the account intelligence or account health hub. And inside login activity, you can see for that particular account what the login activity looks like. This is our demo account. We try to update it as often as possible. We haven't done an update after one of the latest um, updates to the GoCSM platform, but we actually have a little pie chart here that if you click it, you can see if for the last, let's say 60 days, it was X amount of time spent. You can click on the pie chart right next to it to see exactly how long people were spending in different parts of the platform. So you can see a breakdown in a pie chart that says out of an hour, for example, 32 minutes was in conversations, 20 minutes was in contacts, and 8 minutes was in workflows, for example. The other parts are all through product adoption. If you go to filters, you can filter by a specific account, or you can look at the feature adoption for your entire agency. So you'll be able to see exactly for each of the features, how many total assets there are, how many active assets there are, and what an active asset is, it depends on what the asset is. So for business profile, how many completed profiles, for calendars, how many active calendars, for opportunities, how many pipelines with opportunities, SMS, if it's ATP verified, how many total. You can see the engagement and the time spent. The engagement is how many over the last period. So in this case, over the last 30 days, with this demo data, we'll see 5,600 SMS or MMS, 4,200 calls. And then you see the time spent inside of the feature. Now, if you want to get that for a specific account, you can go to sub accounts, click on the sub account, and under product adoption, you have features and assets. For features, you get a table that shows you all of the features here. So workflows, how many total, how many active, how many executions, how much time spent just from this account. Calendars, same for payment products, custom menu links, everything that you see. And the cool thing about this is if you're in the account intelligence or the account health hub, it's the red flags are in red. So let's say you're looking at an account, it should take you about 2 to 3 minutes to see what's wrong with that account. Based on this demo data, I can immediately see the biggest red numbers are 20% drop in workflow executions, 18% drop in emails sent. And depending on your agency's business model, what niche you work with, what workflows you have for them, what you teach them, how they're doing it, how they're using the account, you can quickly deduct what's wrong with this. Are they using it less because they're not getting as much results? We can see in this demo case, no, that's not the case. 279 bookings that are up 15.5%. So they're getting more bookings. So this may not necessarily even be a red flag, right? We're just investigating initially to understand what's wrong. And then as you go through every account and you're looking at the product adoption, you have two things to write about. What's wrong? What's wrong with the account and what needs to be done? And what needs to be done can be the client needs to be contacted, whether a call needs to be scheduled, um, or a phone call needs to be had, because sometimes it may not be a complex issue that requires a whole 30 minutes scheduling, finding the right time. Sometimes it can be as easy as they forgot to edit this. I'll just edit this workflow and activate it for them. Oh, but I don't know this one thing for the workflow to be edited. So you can just call them and say, hey, I notice you don't have this workflow active. I just have a quick question for you. Should this say A, B, or C? They'll tell you it should say this and this. You have all the information that you need. You can activate it. And then next week, check to see their adoption score should have increased if you took the right steps. So to summarize, what's wrong with it and what needs to be done to bring it back. And if key users are going quiet, this is a really cool function here. Under login activity, under users, you can filter by key users. So when you filter by key users, you can see all of your key users here, see how they're performing. And then if you see a key user, it's not spending a lot of time, like in this example demo data, Michael Chen has spent 0 minutes. Jessica Taylor has spent 0 minutes. So from this point, you can actually select people and then add them to a workflow, right? So if you're looking at people that have spent 0 minutes over the last, let's say, 7 days, right? These three, you can easily build a workflow that just sends them an email and an SMS. And it can say, hi, first name, I noticed you haven't logged into your agency name account in the last week at all. It's super important to me that you get value out of this. Otherwise, I don't want your money. Um, are you on vacation? Should I be worried? Would you like to schedule a call? You can say any of these things and make it conversational, friendly, and engaging. Sound good? Am I going too fast? Hope I'm not going too fast.
No, you're not. You're good, Sinan.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Priority accounts and key users. I went over key users briefly. This is users upon whose usage of the platform your retention of that account depends on. Sometimes it's the owner, sometimes it's not. Priority accounts. Now, this is much more of a flexible definition. You can label priority accounts. You can decide what a priority account means to you. A priority is a tag that we're allowing you to place in GoCSM. So some popular uses of priority account, highest MRR accounts, you can mark those as priority. You can mark strategic or portfolio clients. What's a strategic or portfolio client? This is somebody that is either really well connected in the industry. If you do a good job for them, you know they're going to bring you referrals, or somebody that's a really big company, right? They don't necessarily be really well connected, but if they're a really big company and you want to do a great job for them so you can create a case study out of it, you can mark them as a priority. That's what strategic or portfolio looks like, means. Potential referral sources, accounts with clear upsell potential. This is another definition that you can apply. So what I would recommend is definitely pick one direction to go with priority accounts and mark all of those people as a priority. So if you're doing accounts with clear upsell potential, then keep it to just that. And then clients and long-term contracts. So if somebody signed like a 1 or 2 year contract, definitely recommend considering keeping it as a priority account as well. And then from GoCSM, from inside of health, if you go to sub accounts, you can actually mark them as a priority from here by just clicking on the star. So all of these are already marked, and then you can actually look at just your priority accounts if you want to. So you can filter just to look at priority accounts. Also in the overview section, you see what your priority accounts look like. How many total priority accounts you have marked, what is the MRR, what's their average health, how many total users. All this is just a snapshot of your priority accounts that the client success director or any other partners can just take a look at and very quickly understand. This is super important. GoCSM is a huge application, and honestly, retention and churn management is a science. It's a massive, massive science. It goes really deep, but this is a very foundational piece here. There are 3 levels of retention management. The CSM level. What does a CSM do? A CSM's goal is to identify red flags, um, leading indicators, but still red flags. So these leading red flag indicators are going to be login activity is dropping off, product adoption is dropping off, new contacts added, calendar appointments, workflow executions are dropping. Um, a CSM is looking for clients with problems and creating and deciding like what needs to be done, consulting with the team. This is what we need to do to save this one, or if they already have an SOP, creating a list of accounts that they need to go address. whether by contacting the client or fixing something behind the scenes for them. Second one is the CSD level, the director level. The goal with the director level is to identify patterns. So for example, last month we ran a marketing campaign to a new target demographic and we got 10 new clients. All the new clients that we got, their new contacts numbers are not increasing, or their ATP is not done for like 80% of them. That is a pattern or a systemic issue. If their ATP was not done, that means that that particular niche is having trouble with ATP, or the video that you gave them on how to do ATP verification was not clear enough. That's a systemic issue. So systemic issues should be discovered by the director. And the goal is to ultimately identify holes and lapses in the process, in the onboarding process, in the success process, in the management process, in the communication, weekly check-ins process, to identify patterns of systemic issues in any of those. And then you have the executive and owner level, partner level. The goal for that is, since the owner, the partners, they're usually the executives, they're usually tapped into multiple departments. So they'll be tapped into marketing, they'll be tapped into all the technologies, they'll be tapped into future plans for the agency, into how the salespeople are actually selling, what they're saying to the clients to close them, and what expectations these new clients are coming to during onboarding and when they join the program, when they join the service, when they register. So what an executive or owner is able to do is actually take those systemic issues that the CSD is providing and identifying, and take those patterns and then compare them to everything else. Look at all the other data in the agency. Who are you targeting? What changes have there been in the marketing and the sales process, and everything, every single process in the agency, in the past, current, and in the future, whatever is planned. Ultimately, they get to set retention economics. So net revenue retention, what a saved account is worth versus how much it costs to save it. These numbers are important to have for everybody. A CSM, a CSD, and a partner should all be aware. How much is net revenue retention worth, and what is a saved account worth versus the cost to save it after they've already decided to cancel. And of course, when you have these numbers, you're going to have a very clear idea on how far it's worth to try to save a client versus to go pursue new business. So GoCSM triggers and how to automate catching red flags for new and existing accounts. I have 2 slides here. This first one is for new accounts. Jamaica, I think we have some of these set up for you. If we don't have, if we're missing any of these and you see anything that you would like to set up, the slide after next one, I'll give you a link to the form, or you can just tell me at the end of this presentation and we'll set it up for you. So for new clients, spot red flags during the onboarding period, which can be anywhere from a week to 4 or 5 weeks. So if you have a new client, if we're talking about being a GHL SaaS agency and them getting a sub account, super important that they add contacts. So they need to import their contacts, or they need to start generating new contacts / leads, and then setting up their email domain and starting to send emails. It's the most used, email is the most used communication channel for CRMs and for 99% of businesses. So you're able to set up through the GoCSM triggers, if a client has signed up after 14 days and they haven't added contacts, they haven't started sending emails, to send you an internal notification, either Slack, email, SMS, Asana, any of the integrations. GoCSM is based on HighLevel, so you can connect it with so many third-party integrations. Ultimately, catching new accounts who haven't imported existing contacts or started adding new contacts or haven't sent any emails. Second important one asset activation for email, domain, and phone number. This one's going to let you catch accounts who haven't activated their email domain or have not completed A2P. We just added A2P specifically for under the asset activation pending trigger. The recommendation is if it's been more than 7 days, check. If they haven't done it, send an internal notification, Slack, email, wherever, or task in Asana. You can automate that very easily. And then revisit after 7 days. So recheck it. And feature time spent is less than. So if they spent less than 60 minutes inside conversations, conversations is typically the most used module in all of HighLevel, especially by teams that just use it. A lot of agencies will just set up the snapshot, set up everything for their clients, and their clients are just expected to actually respond to outreach, respond to emails, to SMS, send SMS, send contact leads, follow up with leads, etc. So conversations is super important. So the recommendation here is 14 days after sign up if they haven't spent at least 60 minutes. And honestly, I think this might be even too low to send an internal notification so that you know they're not using the conversations tab. And that's ultimately inherently a red flag. They might not be using it because they're not getting enough leads. If they're not getting enough leads, that's in itself a red flag. Any questions on this part particularly?
None so far, Sinan. Everything is good.
Alrighty. And then creating your red flag feed for onboarded accounts. So they're past the onboarding process and you want to catch red flags from that point on. So I have 5 recommendations on here. If the first one is very obvious, if they're not logging in. So if they haven't logged in for 7 days, trigger an internal notification and highly recommend a user-facing reactivation email where in the snapshot in GoCSM, we already provide with a template, with a split. So if they don't log in for 7 days, they don't get the exact same email every time. There's 3 templates in there. You can add as many as you want. It also, when you have a split in the automation, it allows you to test subject lines. So I recommend this to everybody. Turn on this notification, turn on this workflow automation and check it every week, every 2 weeks. Check the open rates, check the click-through rates inside of those emails, the user-facing emails. And if you're seeing that one of the subject lines is getting a lot more open rates, then switch that subject line to be for all of the emails. If you're seeing that one of the emails is getting a much higher click-through rate, definitely understand and explore why is that happening, and then change your other emails to make sure that they're following that general guideline, which is causing that first email to actually get so many clicks. And the clicks is for people to either log back into the platform or schedule a support call or check out a mini video or a mini course or something valuable. But they should be taking action, because if they're not logging in, that means something, they're either on vacation or something is happening to where they're not finding value. Second one is new contacts created. If that's decreasing, highly recommend month over month. If it drops by 30%, to check it. Re-trigger 15 days. So what this means is every 15 days, it takes the last 30 days, compares it to the previous 30 days. And if it drops by 30%, then you can change this to 50%, 70%. If it drops by this threshold, it's going to trigger. And then I recommend sending an internal notification until you learn how to deal with these kind of red flags. Eventually, you can add even a SMS or an email to go to the client. Like, hey, John, I noticed you added only 500 new contacts this month versus 1,000 contacts last month. And it's definitely worrying me. Is everything okay? Is the lead gen working? Do you need help? Anything like that. And it's also going to show how close you're paying attention to this, because clients love clients love it when the agencies that they pay spend extra time and effort to catch these little things. So if you went and showed, you have a feed of all these red flags and you show it to a client, look at all these emails I'm getting that are showing me that your stuff is decreasing and it's worrying me. And this is why I want to talk to you. Let's explore a solution together because we're on your team. This automatically makes your agency stand out. It 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 differentiates you massively from all the other agencies that are just collecting money and it's like, oh, okay, these guys canceled, whatever. But 2 3 weeks before they even think about canceling, when you're like, hey, I'm noticing you're booking less appointments, let's talk about this, I want to help you. The client, as a human, they'll think, wow, I finally am working with somebody that cares enough about my business, finally. And it's not easy to find agencies that care to this degree. And a lot of the times agencies just don't even have a way to care about it. Like they don't have the data available, which is where we come in. So new contacts decreased, calendar appointments decreasing, SMS phone calls decreasing, and email sent decreasing. These are four core um, red flags that you can monitor. Again, send an internal notification, but also always think about the fact that you can send them an email too. You can send them an SMS. And in some cases, that can be extremely beneficial, depending on your agency's model. Sound good? All
Sounds
right.
good.
Awesome. So um, this is the link, and this is the URL. I'll send it in the Zoom chat. If you would like to have us build any automations for you, um, currently we're doing this for the next few weeks where usually what's a white glove service, we're actually offering this for free to all of our clients. So um, if you want us to build out any of these automations for you, or if you have any other ideas, um, you can just use this form, just enter your agency's name here, enter how many clients you have, and then start the session. Um, None of this is required. So once you go through this, you'll see that there's some questions here. If you want to notify us of something, um, feel free to. If you want to skip this entire screen, you can skip it, and then you can go through it and tell us what do you want to watch for, what's important to you, what red flags. And there's a lot of conditionals here, like if you select this and this, you want to watch for these triggers. On the next page, as you start the build, it's going to ask you questions depending on what you selected. Um, Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you for joining, Jamaica.
You're always welcome, Sinan.
You're always welcome. Um, we're going to be featuring this video on our website and our knowledge portal. So for anybody watching, if it's not too late, if we haven't stopped doing the white glove support and engineering, feel free to reach out to us or fill out that form or book a call with me. But for now, I would love to answer any questions that you have. If you want to talk about your agency, I'm more than happy to take as much as you want.
Yeah, actually not much right now. It's just that yeah, we're experiencing a cancellation from our clients, and I learned from our previous training on how to check the health of each account. And it was yeah, really helpful. And yeah, the notification we have signed before they really would like to cancel, so we have time to reach them out first. So it was a really great and very helpful.
Nice.
Mhm.
Um, did I send you? I have to check. I believe I sent you the free media campaign. I think that will be an awesome campaign for you guys to run. Do you remember receiving that from me?
Mm, let me check here. Oh, what campaign is that? Is there any specific
We
of the
call it
campaign?
We call it the free media campaign. Let me see. I do recall mentioning it to you. I do recall I've sent it to a number of people so far. Um, I'm checking all of our history now. If I haven't sent it, I will send it to you. Um, the
Free
free media
media
campaign.
campaign.
Yep,
Um,
it's
I haven't received that. In my working email, that's not my personal email, it's different. I'm not using it. It's no, I haven't received that. And can you please let me join that campaign so I can also attend?
yeah. So I will send you a number of videos and SOPs that make up the entirety of the campaign.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be the success at stridecrm.com. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll be waiting for the invite.
No problem. No problem. It's just the resources are all on Google Drive. I'll just send you links
Mm-hmm.
and name all of them. The free media campaign is an excellent campaign. Um, you, what niche are you working with primarily at Stride?
Actually, we are the back end of the Stride CRM. So if they have questions with technical support, um, onboarding, setting up their Stride.
Okay.
Mhm.
What clients are you looking or is Stride working with? Like what industry?
This is real estate, land investing business.
Real estate investing?
Yes,
Okay. Okay. Um, are you involved in the sales or marketing at all?
it's kind of yes, sales, and also customer success management.
Okay, cool. So you're going to find this super useful. Basically, the campaign is if
Mm-hmm.
you have phone numbers of your target demographic, cold calling, but cold calling, everybody hates it, right? And why do people hate
Yeah.
it? Because when you call and you're like, hi, I want to sell you something, people are, they don't even care. They just hang up immediately. But if you call and say, hi, we're a local media company and we're publishing an article on on this or this website, and we want to feature you in it, and you sound like a media agency, which there's a very little difference between media marketing to the average consumer, or to the average business owner. When you position it that way, then it's like you're delivering good news. Like, oh, you're a local media marketing company or a local media company that wants to feature me in an article. All of a sudden, if you're talking to a gatekeeper, they'll be like, oh my God, let me get the owner. Or if you're
Mhm.
talking to an owner, to an investor directly, they might show interest right away. And the goal is to book them on a 20-minute interview, make everything about them, and at the end of the interview, say, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. It was a pleasure for them too. By the way, have you checked out our website? Do you know what we do? And in the last like 3 minutes of that interview, 5 minutes, talk about you and book an actual sales call. And this works really well for certain niches. It works really well for niches where branding is important to them. So, for example, plumbers and roofers, branding is not that important to them, at least not as important as beauty clinics, med spas, estheticians, like dentists, attorneys, other groups like that. So I'll make sure to send that information to you. And if you're watching this later, you want me to send this campaign over to you, um, sending it out for free right now to everybody. So feel free
Oh
to
yes,
reach out.
please.
Yeah.
Hmm. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much.
much.
Of course, you make it. Thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, you're most welcome and have a wonderful day, Sinan.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.